Hey everybody, it's Jenna and Bean and Shanice. Woo! Got on the first try. We are Space Cadets, and this is going to be a very special episode. All three of us have finished Moon Knight, and we got things to say. We got things to say, and I need to know if you two also have things to say because I've got a lot of things to say.
I've got at least two things to say.
Yeah, so forewarning for anybody and everybody coming in, this is big spoilers. This is going to be spoilers because I think the first thing we'll talk about is probably how it ended. Just work our way backward. Oh my goodness, yes. So big spoilers. And we go finish watching it, and then we'll wait right here for a minute, and then you can watch us and chit chat with us. And I feel like that was sufficient enough time to wait for you. Have you watched it? Okay, we're gonna talk about it. So, why did they wait so long to show? Like, they sat there and they had this beautiful moment of togetherness, right? And then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, there's Jake Lockley. I'm just gonna shoot somebody. Why? Rude.
Yeah, I was like very surprised by that. Like I was kind of like missing his character. Obviously, like anybody who's read Moon Knight was watching the show is probably like, where's the cab driver?
Yeah.
But I just thought, well, maybe like he'll just like come out later, you know, just they're just focused on like getting everybody like in this idea of two personalities. I guess they thought it would be too confusing with three, especially in only 6 episodes. Which also, why was it only 6 episodes?
I was expecting 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rude.
It is short. But yeah, I don't, and they're almost like, at least from the Moon Knight I've read, Jake's usually like the friendly guy in the diner. Like, you know, like he's like the people person. Why is he the murderer now? Like,
yeah, I'm with I'm on this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. Like I was asking, like, why is he the murderer?
I guess somebody had to be. And they upgraded him from a taxi to a limo. And by the way, there is no reason on this earth to be that aggressive to a wheelchair. He just kicked that wheelchair. He went to push it away and then he kicks it. I'm like, rude. I get that you're the only one with a full-time job paying all the bills while the other two go all around the world. But that doesn't mean you take it out on a wheelchair.
The other two personalities have jobs. He works in a museum store.
Yeah, for like a week.
The other one's a mercenary.
But he's dead, so.
And I don't think they're paying that well if Jake has to be involved. But yeah, Jake's characterization, I really didn't like that. I didn't like how murderous and like blah, blah, blah he was. Like that doesn't seem like Jake at all. Like he's like how being said, he's like the really just kind of chill, catty guy who helps out his alters, and then to have him just be like we only saw him for like 2 or 3 minutes, but it's still like why is it the first time that you show him like on the show? Like why is he like a murderer? I did not care for that part at all. That did not like it. But,
and then they waited till that moment to actually put Khonshu in a suit. And then that brings me to another thing I was really mad at. And Shanice, you might know a little more about this than I do, so let me know if I'm wrong. But Mr. Midnight was known as like being the more harsher, like more violent, more deadly than Moon Knight. Wasn't he like in his white suit? Like he was more like
Mr. Knight, he's I don't know. I told people like at the store, he's like just a really cool one. Like his outfit is just really cool, and that was something else like on the show because before the show even came out, when you saw like the promo pics, I'm like, yeah, this dude, he is so cool. he's really suave and he's super awesome. And then he's kind of goofy, and it's like, man, I spent the last couple of weeks hyping this character up, and
this is what we got.
This is what we got. Like he still looks cool, but it's like, man, he shouldn't.
I guess you could kind of like look at it as, and so have we really seen, because I know that all of the Moon Knight I've ever read, none of it's been an origin story, really. Like, you don't, maybe this is kind of like Mr. Knight's origin story, you know, is like, maybe he wasn't always the super cool guy, you know, maybe that's like Steven's arc that's happening of like, you know, from very awkward and confused about what's going on to like suave and cool. But I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. And also for Jake, he was hinted at many times because both of them blacked out at one point, right? During the fight. And they were like, was that you? That wasn't me. And they're like, what happened here? And then when they were like in their brainy insane asylum thing, there was that sarcophagi. And I was like, why didn't you open it? You knew that the other one was one of your personalities and you knew somebody was trapped in there. Why didn't you open it? Open it! I'm pretty sure for the both episodes that we saw it, I was like, open it now. I yelled at the TV a lot during these episodes, which is kind of how I watch TV shows at home. I'm very quiet when I'm at the movies, except for a very recent movie. But anyways, but like usually at home, I'm just like, don't do that. But no, this one, I was like, rage yell.
But I only hit that point once during the show, and it was when they are like in the freaking tomb. He gets the thing that I can't remember the name of because it's in Egyptian. He gets the fancy thing that they needed to get, and then like his wife comes in and is like, you know what? Let's have an emotional conversation right now.
Not right now, no!
I was like, literally out loud, I was like, you could be discussing this at the Holiday Inn in 2 days. Like, not right now. Like,
I said the same thing. I was like, get to the car first. And you know it wasn't him. Come on. He didn't kill him. You know that much. Oh, but you were there. He died too. Like, I don't know why. Like, I understand that she had emotions and stuff like that. But in a life and death situation, in like that moment, let's pause for just like enough to get not life and death moment. And then replay. Like I'm not saying hold on to it, I'm just saying like pause. Like 5 minutes. Y'all literally just ran away from the guy that was, you know, cutting people up. What were they called? I can't remember. In the tomb where the guy was like,
yeah, I don't remember what they're called.
I can't remember. And he's just like, what was that?
How they go again?
But anyways, yeah, where they had like the jars of all the organs everywhere. They literally had just escaped that, right? Mm-hmm. And now she's like, oh, I'm in this giant tomb and there's guys chasing me with guns and then there's these monsters. Let's fight.
Let's take a pause though and talk about like things that we did. Like, did you guys like the show? I know we have issues with it, but I liked it.
I did, yeah. I think if a TV show or a movie can draw me in enough to actually be like, no, then yeah, I think I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Like it, whenever like I talk about it, I know I sound like just really hypercritical about it. And me and Jenna had a discussion about a certain topic that was important that was on the show. But there were so many things but there were quite a few things in the show that I did like. I like the Easter eggs. especially the one in the last episode. The name of the hospital is named after a certain artist who worked.
Oh yeah.
So that was fun. I paused it. I told my boyfriend like, hey, that's the artist. That's the artist. I was like, come on, look, keep going. But like that, I did like how they touched more on the Egyptian mythos, which is something that I feel like in the comics that they could, especially in the past, they haven't done too well on. But I do like how it was such a focal point on this show, and I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And the music was really cool too. That they played
yeah.
credits. The soundtrack was fun.
Oh my gosh. At the end of every episode, we were just like, oh, I need to find this song. It's in Egyptian. I don't know what they're saying, but I need it now. Like right now. I'm pretty sure I've downloaded all the songs. It was so good. And then, who was y'all's favorite character?
See, that's kind of a tough one because like I love Moon Knight, and like that feels like a cop out though. He's the main character, but yeah, I'm very conflicted because I don't know, because like I that really might be, and I really liked Steven, like the character, or like the personality of like where, and I know that that's partly because they set him up to be like the audience's point of view, where it's like, oh, like he's just figuring this all out. He isn't really feeling all this, so then it's him and he has to like explain it out loud. But I don't know, I really liked him, and like I felt kind of like a connection with that character. So
nice. What about you, Shanice?
Yeah.
When I first saw her, I was like, I don't know about this. I think they were kind of, and I guess they did. They're replacing a character from the comics. So Layla, she was like the MVP for me. I really liked her a lot, and her final suit was really neat. And I hope to see more of her in the MCU, like just her interacting with other characters. I don't know if Moon Knight is still supposed to be its own thing, or if they're going to tie it into the rest of the Marvel universe as a whole, which I really hope they do, because I really want to see these characters interact with other ones. But so I guess my answer is like Layla. I really liked her.
She was amazing. And by the way, the actress who did so I'll talk about my favorite, and then I'll explain a little more. So I loved the Hippo Goddess. I loved her. Like her first thing she walks in, she goes, "Hi," and I was like, "Oh, you're amazing!" Even though hippos are so deadly, you're just, I want to hug you, right? I just want to hug you. And then, and then like the way she explains it, she's like, "Oh, you need to go do this off on your journey." And then the guys are like, "Okay." The hippo thingy. And then when they go back and she like pops up in one of the dead guys' body, she's like, "Oh, you can just pick me. I could be your goddess." And then Layla's like, "No, what is happening?" And then it gets to the part where they're in the pyramid and she's freeing Khonshu. And the actress did such an amazing job of like being like, "I'm Layla. Oh, and now I'm the goddess." And so like, "Oh, why are you having a conversation in the middle of this like gunfight?" And I really adored her, and I want to see her do more. And then just like giving Layla that amazing outfit, that fighting outfit, where she's just like, her wing is just like protecting her, and she goes, "Wah!" I was like, yep, I love her. The portrayal of the gods that they did have in there, I thought were pretty on point on what it would be like if there was Egyptian gods walking among us nowadays, where they're just like, "That's my avatar. I'm gonna stay out of this. Oh, wait a minute. Khonshu is over here messing up the stars. I guess I better get involved."
That part kind of reminded me of The Wicked and the Divine, but like a way more mellow version, but like, like if the gods got more invested in it in Moon Knight, it would become like The Wicked and the Divine.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I see it. Now I want to see The Wicked and the Divine.
That would be crazy.
I think they are making a show off of it.
I need 12 seasons. I need an episode for every single comic. Like every single comic needs to be a whole episode. And then that can, yeah, like 5 to 6 episodes per season. And then we have so many, like, okay, yeah, there we go. Somebody ship it off to like HBO or Amazon Prime. Right? Meow. Meow.
Yeah, definitely needs to be a streaming service one. I don't even know if Disney, like, definitely not like Disney Plus material there.
No way.
Like, lots of drugs and violence in that one.
I think that's gonna have to be a Amazon Prime or HBO Max thing. Like, oh, I do not see that as working very well for Hulu or like Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But it needs that kind of big budget that Disney Plus can have. So HBO,
like 2-hour episodes.
and then don't do weekly releases. That hurts me. I usually, so what I normally do is I'll watch like 3 episodes here, 3 episodes there, or I watch the whole thing at once. Like this weekly wait just like frustrated me. What about you guys? Like this was a little different from, because I think their last shows, what they did was they dropped 3 episodes and then they waited like a week or 2 and then they dropped 2 episodes. I think there are other shows they ran like that. This one, it was literally 1 a week.
I actually like the weekly releases. Like I feel like with certain like streaming services, like Netflix, when they drop everything at once, people talk about it for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, but then they can stop. I feel like with Moon Knight or in the other Disney Marvel shows, when they're weekly releases like this, it gives people something to like talk about. Like when WandaVision drops, I love that because like especially at the store, we had to tell people like on Wednesdays or on Thursdays, hey, don't talk about it. I know it's great, but we like at least like wait like a couple days so that everyone can see it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun. It gives you something to look forward to. And with binging shows, like especially like what's that show? Stranger Things. It's like I feel pressured to watch like the entire season in one day, so I don't get spoiled on Facebook. Because somehow, even though like it's 9 o'clock in the morning, someone's watched the entire show. I guess it drops at like midnight or something. I don't know.
Who needs sleep? I need answers.
I need spoilers.
So
I don't want spoilers.
So that kind of brings up a thing. So I recommended Moon Knight to my mom because my mom loves Egyptian mythology, like loves it. So I was like, and she honestly, she loves superhero movies too and stuff like that. So I was like, and she loves the Marvel ones especially. So I was just like, you need to watch this. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. Like prioritize watching that because you're gonna love it. But she has no knowledge of Moon Knight going in. And one thing I didn't realize, but from talking to her, and she's only seen the first episode, she didn't understand from the first episode that he had multiple personalities. Which was something I hadn't thought about. That she was like, and I was thinking about like that first episode, like I just didn't think about the fact that like if people are coming in and have no knowledge of Moon Knight, which is totally possible since he hasn't shown up in, I don't think he's ever shown up in any MCU, hasn't been talked about. So people only watching the movies, are coming in totally different. We know exactly what to expect. But it was so fun to kind of like listen to her be like, oh yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Like maybe he's like time traveling. I'm not really sure what's going on, but like it is cool. And like I hadn't thought about that, but clearly like the creators did think about that, hopefully, because now I'm like, I hope it's clear enough to everyone that like it becomes clear.
Yeah.
That he has multiple personalities, but I hope that reveal is like satisfying for people who didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Oh man.
But that would be a really fun like reveal though. It's like, oh wait, it's the same person. Or,
okay.
What? It's not as far as Squid.
So, have either of you seen Eternals?
No.
Okay. Do you mind a spoiler? I don't even know if it's actually a spoiler.
Are you talking about like how I know the executive producer came out and said that there were supposed to be more ties to the MCU on Moon Knight, and you're supposed to have the.
Well, that's because so the end credit scene, it's Kit Harington's character, who I don't know if everybody knows this. He is Black Knight. So he is another character of the darker side of Marvel, and it was crazy to me that they actually like said his full name in the very beginning of the movie, and I was like, "Oh, I know that name. Now, hold on, I know that name." And I had to I was like, "I know that name. Aha! I knew that name." And then at the end of it, they've already confirmed that voice is Blade. And there was another leak somewhere where Moon Knight is actually supposed to cross over with Blade and Black Knight for something. And I'm like, is this like the pre-thing for what they're going to be doing? Like, is Eternals and Moon Knight a setup for what that's supposed to be? Midnight Suns, thank you. Our producer just told me, I don't know, he's down here somewhere. He's in the void of somewhere around here. Midnight Suns, that's what it is. So, like, I wonder if this is going to be like what they did with WandaVision. WandaVision was like a setup for Doctor Strange. I wonder if they're doing Moon Knight as sort of a setup to and Eternals as sort of a setup to Midnight Suns. Like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'd be hyped for it because that means that Marvel won't give me what I want, which is another Midnight Suns book. But that, I when I saw that, like what the producer said, like that was like my immediate thought. Okay, Midnight Suns, because in the Eternals movie, I want to say, well, he doesn't work at the museum, but Cersei does.
He did.
Oh, he did. I thought it was Cersei. Are they both did?
Yeah, they both did because he had an office at the museum, and that's where the sword was hidden. At least that's what I took away from it.
And it would have been cool to see Kit Harington just like walking, like to see him as like in the background.
I like that. I feel like that's supposed to be the same museum.
The British Museum?
Yeah. I feel like that's supposed to be the same museum. How messed up would it be? All that stuff happens in Eternals, right? And then, like, the museum's already lost some of its best people because of superhero stuff. And then Moon Knight comes up, destroys the bathroom, plus, like, part of the exhibits. This museum can't catch a break.
Did he destroy the exhibits? I thought it was just the bathroom.
Probably. I don't know. Everybody was in there touching things, and that makes me nervous. You don't touch the art, people. I don't care if it's made of stone. No touchy means no touchy. So them shooting bullets at him while he's running away from them, it's stuff. I know it did. Museums have a special place in my heart. I love museums. So watching people shoot in the middle of a museum caused me great amounts of anxiety. Don't touch the art at museums. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, I'm sorry about that, guys. Like, literally, museums used to be my, like, gateway, getaway, like, happy place. And so, like, why does the why you gotta be shooting in a museum? Man, don't shoot the art. What's, like, I don't care if it's made of stone or not. Leave it alone. So that was my biggest pet peeve of the show, though, was early on when they decided to just open fire in the middle of this museum. What was your biggest pet peeve? Somebody else, please.
Oh no, Bean, what's yours? Did you have something that made you go?
I had a moment, and I think that it might be kind of petty, but I'm gonna go ahead and express it just in case anybody else had the same thought. Like, I loved the whole part where they're like in the mental hospital, but then it's also kind of like his passage, you know, as like he's dying and as he's dead and he's being transported. I kind of had some issues with that whole scene. Like, I loved it, but I think because I loved it so much, like I wanted it to be a little bit better. But the part where the goddess is like, you have to go back in there and go find out the secrets about yourself. I just immediately was like, that's kind of heavy-handed. Like, it was very, very like, here's the next step in your emotional journey. And like, I
I'm
don't know.
already dead. I don't need to take an emotional journey. I know my secrets.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved them like bringing in more, like some more of the Egyptian myths and like the actual like legends and everything. I just thought like I don't understand why they had to like explicitly state it instead of just having him like go through a journey. Like, why did they have to say it? Like, did you guys
Maybe
feel that too?
I did feel that way, but then I was also thinking about it because one of my nieces was watching in another state and she was actually messaging me. So it felt like it helped explain that a little better for maybe not everybody quite got that. Because this was rated what, PG like 13 or something like that? Or like what was the rating of this show? I can't remember.
I think TV 14.
Okay, so like those preteens and younger folk that were watching it, maybe it was said so they could understand. Us as grown-ups kind of understand, but like I don't know. Maybe that's why. You know what, Jay? I don't like you right now. For anybody watching this, Jay just reminded us in our chat over wherever he is, all the shots fired inside of the tomb. Shanice, what was the part that annoyed you?
Jake's securitization. I'm so mad about that. Like, that's if, oh my gosh, if this is like a 3-hour, 4-hour show, no one would leave because I would just hold Jenna hostage just talking about it. Because oh gosh, it's just, it was just gross. And the whole asylum thing. Not asylum. What for at the mental hospital? All I could think about, and this is just so catty, but all I could think about was like, man, I really want to rewatch Legion now because I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, to me, I felt when people say that Moon Knight is like, oh, it's really trippy and weird, which it was. I'm like, dude, you need to watch Legion because that's going to make you question your whole reality a little bit. And that's all I could think about, like during those scenes. Like, man, I just want to watch Legion. This just makes me want to watch Legion again. Oh, and on that note, I'm going to rant about Jake Lockley to be in Jenna for a couple minutes. So we will be right back. Bye.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Copeland. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadettes.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
comic culture and sales.
Okay, and we're back. Excuse us for looking a little bit crazy, just talking about Moon Knight and other things. But we did have a little bit of a mind-tripping comment from our producer about a certain thing. Jenna, you want to touch on that?
What does it say? Oh, yes. Yes. So, was the asylum actually real? Like, he's in his afterlife, right? And he's talking to Ethan Hawke as a doctor. And no, there's no S in his name, is there? No, Ethan Hawke as a doctor. And all this is going on. And then he makes his escape. And then the hippo goddess and all of her greatness is like, hi. And then brings him about to afterlife. So the asylum, was the asylum itself real? Because he's still dealing with that later when he's talking to Ethan Hawke Doctor Man and his limp and blood. And he's like, do you see that? And he's like, oh yeah, I see that. And I was like, oh yeah, we definitely see that. And he's like, why am I limping? And it's like, okay, so was that in his mind at that point? And it was only real during his death? Like that's kind of like where, like, what part of it was real or was the whole thing? Is this all in his head? Is he in an asylum? Is the whole MCU happening in his head?
No, that would suck.
That is the best argument. That is the best argument for against it. It sucks.
Okay, but that is like a legit thing because it's like, so I did think that it was like it kind of like a mind palace situation. And like I think they almost even like made a reference to that, or maybe I was just like the person I was watching it with made a reference to Mind Palace while we were watching it together. But like, yeah, I definitely thought that was in his mind. And then the fact that at the end, because Ethan Hawke is at the very end is in like a real world mental institute.
Yeah.
So like I think that flashback as where that Ethan Hawke is still like the doctor as like in his mind, but I was also very, very confused when that happened because I didn't know why that scene happened. Like, Shanice, do you have any like clarity on that?
No. We can all just be confused together. I love it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody and they said that basically like they thought it was, I'm trying to remember how it was explained, but it kind of made sense, and at least it was like, I don't know, some sort of like mental thing to just show like closure, but I still don't know how they like entered into that.
I think their death, like, because it showed up when he died, and he's like, oh, you shot me. And I don't know. Shanice, you good?
Yes, I'm sorry.
But like neither of them died then. I'm talking about like the very end where it's like all of a sudden it like flashes to it and like said there's like the blood on the floor.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't really get that.
Maybe it was closure?
I guess so.
It was symbolic. Here we go. I'm gonna make something up. Here we go. It was symbolic and a way to show the audience that they had become one together. I don't know. That's my guess. I have no idea.
Yeah. Man, I was hoping you guys would just be like, because like sometimes I'm not always the best at picking up on like subtle things. So I thought maybe I just missed something. But the fact you guys are both also confused, I'm like, okay.
Oh. Sorry, Shanice, you go ahead.
I guess it's just one of those things. It's like I have a theory about it, but then like the more I think about it, it's like, well, I can poke holes in it. And whenever it's like, oh, well, maybe it was, symbolic. No, because how can it be symbolic if it was real? Then it's like, well, wait, how did this whole thing happen in the first place? And it makes you think about other scenes or previous episodes. It's like, well, wait, that didn't make sense, and you just start spiraling. So maybe I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to think about it too much. I'm just going to enjoy
it.
I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it because I'm mad about Jake again. So that's it.
I do really think that like the part on the boat was like his mind palace. That's not like a real place in like.
I think in Egyptian mythology it is though.
Like yeah, but like it's like a mythical place though. It's not like a real.
Oh, okay.
But like at the end, then that is a real place because they like roll him out to a limo and that all happens. But like that building and everything, was it just me? Like, did I just like miss them? But like it looked basically identical to the like mind institution, right?
So I do have a theory. In the kind of like in his past, in his younger years, and it's also talked about briefly in the comics. In his real life, he was in a mental institution for a while, and most of them do look the same. Like they have the same sort of like layouts. They have the same sort of like everythingness. So maybe Ethan Hawke's character, especially since Jake showed up. He took a break from his job driving a taxi to drive a limo to go kill him. Like maybe he ended up in the same institution in New York.
Oh, you're thinking like the mind one was like based on a real place.
Yeah, based off the real one that he was in. And then Ethan Hawke at the end of it ended up in that real one also. Maybe?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Like the was it Twilight Zone music? This whole conversation, like.
I will say, so that's actually one of my favorite things, though. I was actually going to kind of theorize that they didn't have the budget to have two separate mental institutions, so they just had to reuse the same one. But like, their like locations and like some of the scenes and stuff, like especially where they're like in the Swiss Alps.
Oh yeah,
extremely beautiful.
Yes.
Like beautiful, like locations, scouting, everything. But then also like some parts it's like, oh, I wonder if you blew out your budget on certain things. But that's fine because they're great. But like
yes. I'm pretty sure they blew a lot of budget having both of the gods fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just like, and the costumes. Perfection.
I will say, I wish that we had seen more of Layla's costume.
Yeah.
Like that is one thing, and like I loved like the wings and everything. Like that part was amazing. I did feel it was like a little bit simplistic on like the front part. I don't know if that was like just very purposeful, but they also didn't show that hardly at all.
I actually have a theory about this. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I have an actual theory about this. So I think since this is that goddess's first time to have an avatar, she hasn't been able to come up with like, I don't think she has spent a whole lot of time in like our universe, except for maybe looking every once in a while. So all she knows is what ancient Egyptians wore or what like her and the other gods wear. So I think she based that costume off of that. That's just my theory though. Like I feel like as Layla is her avatar, it will evolve more to be more like full body armor more, maybe. That's just like I feel like that's why Khonshu's and Mr. Knights, like Moon Knights, I feel like he's gone through more avatars, so he knows what kind of like outfits they need, what type of protection they need.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But that, like I said, that's just. I can't believe we actually talked about something I actually had a theory on. That was exciting. Ooh.
And I think one of my favorite parts too was the explanation of why Mr. Knight wears like a regular suit, because he's like, he said a suit.
Yes.
He said a suit.
Yes.
Like,
you said a suit.
That part killed me.
Yes. Also, so there was one more thing I wanted to touch on. It's how it ended. Okay. Okay. Why couldn't Moon Knight and Khonshu kill Ethan Hawke's character? They were like, oh, she's trapped inside him. And I'm like, I thought she was trapped inside the statue. Is she trapped inside of him, or is she trapped inside the statue? And they're like, oh, we can't kill him. But then Jake could kill him? Did I miss something? Like, I feel like the dots didn't quite connect. Did anybody else feel that way, or did I just miss something?
I had kind of a beef with that. My beef with it was he's like, Mark's like, we can't kill him and the god, because we only punish people for what they've already done. And Khonshu's argument is that they're going to do more bad things. But like, they literally already killed a ton of people.
Yes.
Like, that's the whole thing. Is like, then you should just kill them. You know, like, I get that it's a Marvel movie and like a Disney movie, so like they can't just murder them.
I don't know. They was unaliving a lot of people throughout the whole series.
But like, and they killed the people. So they did bad things.
You do bad things, Moon Knight kills you. Like, that was, and then for some reason, all of a sudden, they just couldn't kill him.
I don't know.
Janice, do you have a theory or an idea?
Yeah, I think, our producers actually just said what I was about to say. How Mark told him, like, hey, you told, if you want him dead, then you do it, like, then you do it yourself. And I was like, okay. He just did it. And Khonshu, even throughout like this whole show, and I did like at the end, he is the other word for Richard. Just a complete jerk. So so I guess I can understand why they did it, because technically Mark and Steve, they wanted nothing to do with it. But Jake, which again I wasn't too crazy about, but I guess I get it. But it's like, just why? I don't.
Also, I think Ethan Hawke did an amazing job. I'm not used to him playing a bad guy, I guess. At least in the movies that I think about, I wasn't used to. And then he was like, I'm the type of bad guy that I make sense. And I'm like, oh no, that is not fair. Ew. But you play it very well, sir. And also, what happened to all the other people that were just out and about judging people and sucking their souls out of them? They were just like, oh, give me your hands. Oh, you're dead now. Like, either you're dead or you're one of us now. Like, what happened to all of them?
I don't know.
Like, hey, so you know how I tried to suck out your soul 5 minutes ago? I was in a bad place. That wasn't me. That was the old me. I was going through some things. I'm sorry.
Were there just like a bunch of dead bodies everywhere then? Because they never really showed the aftermath. Like, were there just a bunch of like husks of people everywhere?
Oh no.
Which I feel would be like, okay, so if this, okay, just for like this, for the sake of like, I guess like the comment. If this takes place after the blip, where people were really snapped out of existence, and to see like us everywhere, that has to be like a huge trigger. My God, like these, oh my God, the sheer amount of stress and horror these poor people went through.
They're like, I just got back from dust, and now you want to suck out my soul? I think not. I think there was fighting in the streets. They were like, I just got back. No. Bad.
Which actually, so I think they actually might say it at some point, but what year is Moon Knight supposed to take place in? Because there's a lot of flip phones. I almost want to say like they said something about it being in like the earlier 2000s, but I don't know. Maybe I just made that up.
I genuinely have no idea.
But I would genuinely love it if this somehow started like a rumor in the fandom, like, hey, a podcast is stated no, in the 2000s. Kevin Feige has to come out and say, like, no, it did not. How did you know? As he hides his plans behind his back.
Oh,
I mean, she does work at Doc Ock's office, so she might have an idea.
Yeah, I just checked the supercomputer. This show took place in 2009.
Oh.
It's canon.
It is known.
Okay. All right. So do you guys want to talk about
our houses? That'd be terrifying. We spoiled the Marvel phase, the rest of the Phase 4 plan for Marvel. Sorry, guys. That's our bad.
The last thing I want to talk about during the last like almost 10 minutes is I thought the casting was on point. Like, you already know that me and Shanice have a little baby crush on Oscar Isaac, but his acting was so amazing, flipping back and forth the way that he was, and then the voice that they got for Khonshu gave me chills. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the voice that I heard when reading the book. Like, brava. And then Layla's character, oh my gosh, like the actors and actresses was just amazing cast.
It's so good. I do have to say I struggled to be impressed with Oscar Isaac's switching, not because it's not great, but because I watched Orphan Black.
Okay.
Orphan Black is like sets a standard, and like I literally was sitting there and I was like, I am so sorry. Tatiana Mosley is I think I left out some syllables in her name, but whatever. You know who I'm talking about. She set the bar so freaking high for any actor or actress to be a bunch of different characters.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm so sorry, Oscar. I can't be super impressed by you. You're doing great.
Yeah.
But there's like 12 people, and they're all different, and they all have different accents. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah. And I don't think Oscar Isaac is English, is he?
He's not.
Mm-mm.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah.
Being now that you mentioned that, now I'm just like, oh yeah. No. He was still amazing. So Shanice and I actually worked with somebody who was like, oh, he has a dad bod. That's why they only shoot him from behind and from the neck up. And we were both sitting there like 2 episodes in, being like, no, he doesn't. Like, no. And then they got a little further and he had his like shirt off and we're like, see? There's nothing wrong with a dad bod, by the way. But I just wanted to say, he worked hard to have all of the character that he was.
That's a lot of character.
It is a lot of character. And I don't know why that made me, us sitting here like this, made me think of that and be like, ha! Like, I literally came in the next day and I was like, did you watch the episode? And she was like, yeah, I watched the episode. I was like, where's the body now? Where's the beef?
That's a kind of harsh, like, classification of dad bod. Like, literally an actor, like, on a show. Like, I don't know. That's a strong opinion.
It's like, what even is like a dad body even more? Like, you know, like a Chris Hemsworth, like he's a dad. Like, does that not count as a dad bod?
Right.
Like, all dad bods are equal. They are all beautiful.
They're all beautiful.
No shame that. But yeah, Oscar Isaac, he killed it.
Yeah.
There was a scene. Of course, there was a scene. Where before the whole sky thing happened, and
what did the sky do?
He flips. It's like, okay, fine. He just like rolls his eyes, and then he just turns to the mark, and it's really good. But now I'm thinking, you know, who else? Who would have killed it? Like Bean said, Tatiana Maslany would have. She would have eaten this. She would have killed this role. So now I'm like, man, if there's an alternate universe where she somehow played Moon Knight,
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
It's like a cameo or something. Just because I don't know. I can't like I feel like everyone who watched Orphan Black was just like and probably all watched Moon Knight because I feel like it's a similar demographic, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, but so I have something I really want to ask you guys, which is just like what do you want to see in season 2? Because I know what I want to see. I can go first if you guys want a second.
I want to see Blade and Black Knight show up. Like, I want to see him still continuing trying to figure out himself. Because the way it ended, where he was still chained up to the bed, and he steps off, and he's like, oh. And I'm like, why would you chain yourself to the bed if both of your personalities are already, like, in sync with each other? So I want to see, like, them discovering their third personality and discovering they're still a part of Khonshu. And then, getting recruited pretty much by Black Knight and Blade. And I want to see them partially get attacked by a vampire. But not really. I don't know. Maybe some Marvel zombies. But I'm going to die on that hill because we'll probably never see that. Oh gosh. What about you, Shanice?
I'm really curious to know Bean's her answer. I'm getting it up to Bean.
So what I really want, and it's like my favorite thing of that I've read in a Moon Knight story so far in the comics is I really like the whole idea of the fact that he's like a guardian of travelers at the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked, and I don't remember, I know that there's like a name for it, but like where he sort of makes his like congregation almost, like where he's got like the vampires and he's got like people who come in and are like a part of like or kind of helping him, but he's also like protecting them. And I really like that. I don't know how well it would translate to the screen, so I don't know if we'll see that of just him being like setting up like a safe space for people and like helping people in the neighborhood. And that's like definitely a more recent thing we've seen in the comics. Like the most recent run is kind of where we're seeing that. But I love that. And I love it. Mostly I just want to see vampires because that's like such a big part of him. Like,
yeah.
It's great.
Dracula is really what I'm looking forward to. Your friendly, deadly neighborhood Moon Knight. Perfect.
Okay, but Shanice, now you can't get out of it. What do you want to see?
I really hope that they fix Jake's characterization. And I really do want to see more of Moon Knight's supporting cast in season 2. I know that Layla, I know she's originally Marine. I know that they, I'm blanking on his name, but the living statue or whatever, it was supposed to be one of his friends. And in the pilot, you could see his name pop up on Mark's phone.
Oh.
Actually,
oh yes. I'm sorry. I just remembered that.
But yeah, I just really want to see these characters like interact with like, you know, Moon Knight, even though I know, especially in comics, why they kind of kept their distance from him. But in that, there's a certain waitress and her sons I really want to see in season 2 interact with Jake once he's not how he is right now. But yeah, I just want to see just more of the supporting cast.
And maybe they'll do like a storyline where it's like something like maybe like there's like a fourth personality that's like corrupted Jake, and that's like not really Jake. Jake's like tied up like in the corner like hostage or something, you know, like maybe that's like they're like actually kind of trolling the comic fans who are like, what did you do to Jake? And then it's not Jake. Like,
yeah.
I tried to come up with like a name like Jake, but only change the first, and all I could think of was Flake.
Flake.
Or Rake.
Drake.
See, that we're all
celebrated Canadian rapper Drake. He's a fourth. We never see Mark and Drake in the same room.
Oh my gosh. Now, we're not saying it's the same person, but you've never seen them together now, have you?
Just saying.
I didn't say anything.
We were literally talking about it.
I don't recall this. I don't recall us talking about that at all.
I don't remember the whole last hour. I don't understand.
And when we're even talking for an hour, we just got here.
Maybe they won't break any mitzvahs next season. That'd be great. This was a great show. That's the last thing I'm gonna say about it. This was a great show, and I can't wait for more. What about you guys?
I actually gave it like a good think, because the ending was kind of upsetting, and I was a little like upset about it, and like I actually gave it like a full like 24 hours. I was like, I don't know how I feel. And after like a day, I was like, I liked it. I liked it.
All right, Shanice, and what is your final review of the show?
I liked it. That's just I liked it.
I've never like hear an asterisk after someone.
I do. Like I heard that. I was waiting for the buts.
I do think, I honestly do think though that WandaVision and Loki are still just like the top Disney Plus shows, or Marvel Disney Plus shows so far. But Jake, yeah, I guess that's what I feel about it. I liked it, but Jake.
I think that is all we have to say about season 1. We'll definitely be back here talking about season 2, and I'm hyped for that. But for today, we have been Space Cadets. I am Bean, joined by Jenna and Shanice. There we go. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.